anytime you have to drop back and throw the ball that many times, a team like that is going to hit home. So, yeah, we just weren't able to connect early. Had some sparks. Defense and special teams kept us in that ball game, and they did a hell of a job, but we just weren't able to contribute.
Listen, we did what we had to do. There's things we got to clean up, and I tell you what, defense, you play like that, you win every game. That's the bottom line. That's outstanding. That's the way to cut it loose, just like we talked about, guys.
I mean, the story going into this game was like, this is going to be some offensive shootout because there's nobody that seemingly was available on the Lions side. It's incredible to think what your LSU guy, Kelvin Shepherd, did in this one.
Smile.
How are the Lions able to get this done?
Pressure. Pressure was the theme of the night. This secondary played out of their mind, too. Even when they were in man coverage situations, these guys showed up and played well. But I give Kelvin Shepherd a lot of credit because the plan was well executed. That means everybody was on the same spot. And this guy, bro, like I can't tell you the amount of times where not big gaudy numbers, but the times of getting Baker off of his spot, the times where you have to know exactly where he is. You see Aiden forces that release by Baker Mayfield, Jack Campbell, open field. Baker has been hurting people with his legs. I thought this was phenomenal by him. And there was a few times where Kelvin Shepherd actually lined up in a five-man pressure, pulled one guy out as a spy, and then simulated coming around. Like Kelvin Shepherd is really.
Dude, there's two defenses right now in the NFL when, like, after the snap, sometimes I'm like, I have no idea.
No clue what they're doing.
It's Indy and Detroit.
But
schematically, you're like, I have no idea.
And to me, to that point, Dan, it speaks to coaching for me.
Yeah.
Right? When you know obviously you have a week to prepare, but you have your entire secondary missing. And you don't have blown coverages.
Yeah.
You got guys in the right spot. You're executing pressures. They didn't even have to really pressure.
They're cutting
that
from
much.
one side of the field to the other, passing
Dude, it was
off.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, again, like, for as much as these guys perform well and you saw a bunch of people making plays, Kelvin Shepherd deserves a lot of credit for a week where I was concerned about my pick because of the secondary.
Yeah.
Right.
And it looked no different. It looked better at times than when the starters have been in there previous games.
For all the injuries on the back end, I thought the return of Lynn McNeil was big.
Huge.
You saw the first pressure with Hutchinson, McNeil's just barreling through. That's really impactful because he commands a lot of double teams. But I want to echo your praise for Kelvin Shepherd. You alluded to something that really caught my eye in this, which was the number of times he had Jack Campbell lined up at the line of scrimmage. Next Gen Stats had him at the line of scrimmage 30% of the time in this game. So he was threatened to come, but he rarely blitzed. And as Marcus said, a lot of the time he was just popping out, either keeping eyes on Baker or taking away Baker's check down.
Absolutely.
And it was almost reminiscent in some ways of the Ravens game, right,
100%.
where they used him the same way. But Baker's legs have been a massive factor for Tampa this year. He didn't have a single carry in this game, and a large part of that was the way they not just pressured him, but also contained him at the same
100%.
time.
One of the things that Kelvin Shepherd said to us before the game was that he challenged all those guys who were having an opportunity to step in. Hey, you can make this the next 10 years of your career. You can change the trajectory of your career by having this opportunity on Monday Night Football. I think some of them made some money for themselves last night. It was pretty
as football
special.
players, a film is all you have.
Yeah.
And you perform in a moment like that on Monday Night Football, that's
cool.
big time for a lot of those guys.
Dan, when you look at the other side of this for the Lions on their offense, what worked well for them?
Motion. And it was motion for information, and it was motion for impact. And the Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown and then the Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown are the perfect examples of kind of why you use motion to have your quarterback and really everybody know what the defense is in, and then can you use that information to impact your play and the opportunity to maybe execute at a higher clip. The Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown is fantastic. So watch the shift, right? Tight end right to left, St. Brown left to right, quarterback into the gun, alert, alert, alert. Why? Because he knows it's man. We're corners over, okay? Now look at the left side. There's only two people left. Linebacker, because that motion is for and the safety are for the tight end and the back. That means Amon-Ra's one-on-one. That linebacker's left in the middle of the field, and a beautiful throw to St. Brown. The Gibbs touchdown's awesome. These are the gaps of an offense, okay? A, B, C, gap. Now, we want to run double teams for our offense, meaning left guard and center, right guard and right tackle. Well, this is called a C-gap insert, okay? Gibbs does a great job because he's got the secondary player, that C-gap insert. I need you to push the double team. Don't run into the defender. See how he splits that double team perfectly? That's really good vision by Gibbs. And also understanding with that insert by that receiver, that guy outside is so far, don't run yourself into a tackle. So I love how Detroit, in their run game, when they motioned, 8.2 yards per play. In their pass game, when they motioned, 7.6 yards per play. It was really good, the plan of using that motion to maybe gather some intel early on, and then using that motion to impact the play to make it significantly easier execution-wise. This is why I think it's as good as any offenses in the NFL.
Oh, it's fun to watch. But by the way, Penei Sewell is like the best pound-for-pound athlete in the NFL.
Yeah, he's big time.
Crazy
It's
fast.
so much fun to watch. All right, bad news for the Buccaneers, as we told you about. The injury to Mike Evans. And this was so disappointing because he was coming back from the hamstring injury. He was so excited to get back out there. Ends up leaving last night's game with a broken collarbone, also a concussion, likely keeping him out for most of the remaining part of the season. A huge blow to Tampa's wide receiver room that's already been hit by a bunch of injuries. Baker Mayfield, too, struggled throwing deep last night, going 1 for 13 on throws 15-plus yards downfield. Now he's going to have to go without Mike Evans. Since he joined the Bucs in 2023, Mayfield has thrown 23 touchdowns to 8 interceptions on throws 15 yards downfield when Evans is on the field. Without him, 7 touchdowns and 6 picks. The one thing is the 2 rookies, Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson, they have stepped up in a big way. And Emeka Egbuka's back out there. Chris Godwin, maybe he comes back at some point. But how big of a hit is this for Tampa's offense, Mina?
Well, first I want to say I hate this for Mike Evans because he has been the model of consistency as part of his Hall of Fame career.
Yes.
The dude just puts up 1,000-yard seasons every year like nothing. And then he finally comes back and you're so excited and it's awful. I mean, as a Bucs fan, though, you can't be too panicked because you have seen this passing attack produce without him for the vast majority of the season. One thing I'd like to see from Tampa is some improvements in the run game. I think that would really help things, and you've seen that when the play-action passing attack has been thriving. They've been so good at attacking zone coverages, but it hasn't been the same this year. There's a litany of reasons for that.
They got to step forward. Like, Egbuka's health is going to be huge now because the hamstring has just started. Tez Johnson, his impact. McMillan, when does he come back? Chris Godwin. If you watched last night, we talked about it a little bit to start the show. Uncharacteristic misses, by their offense. And not that Mike was going to make all that go away, but he is the guy outside of, Chris that has a lot of repetitions with Baker Mayfield of really understanding it at the same way. And so you could watch that tape and sit there and go, well, it's just a one-off for our pass game to maybe not be as exact as you want it to be. And again, it's a tip of the hat to Detroit. But it's also a little bit of a precursor of, all right, with Mike not there, other guys are really going to have to not only step up, but see it the same way on a consistent basis the way the quarterback does.
Marcus, you were more concerned about what you saw from the Bucs on the other side of the ball. Why is that?
And it's a little bit of nitpicking because this is a really good defense, and they play at a very high level. The explosive plays are starting to show up a little bit too much.
Out in space, too.
That's what I'm saying. And last night I was thinking, not just the Jahmyr Gibbs run, a morale that you just showed. You get one-on-one, he runs away from coverage, nobody's there. Obviously, it's a great dial-up by vacated space, but this defense, when they make you go the long, hard way, it usually ends up in a turnover or a field goal. Like, that is their MO. And by no means am I saying Tampa is in trouble defensively. But these are the teams, these explosive NFC teams, you're going to see. You're going to see Dallas at some point, maybe if y'all get into the playoffs. The Rams. Obviously, we saw Detroit. Jordan Love and Green Bay look like they trying to hit a home run every time they snap the football. So that's just something to me that they have to get fixed. And then on the back end, making the penalties. The pass interference has been something that's bailed them out of some third down situations where they could have been off the field. This is what you get to at this point of the season. I'm not worried about Baker in this offense. I think they'll get that figured out structurally. Defensively, that's the one caveat. Todd Bowles is going to pressure. DB's got to make sure that they're able to take care of that part, and then the explosive plays.
Yeah, Yaya Diaby told me heading into the game, they can't just keep relying on Baker Mayfield and the offense to bail them out at times. They're aware of some of those mistakes. There's Mike Macdonald afterwards.
Second son.
We said this game, this game was about death zone football, okay? Our style of ball, having each other's back from the first down to the last down. That's complimentary ball. Hey, just imagine, man. Imagine when it's all three phases clicking, okay? Imagine, okay? And we're gonna attack the shit out of it. But that's how we operate, guys. We have each other's backs at all times, no flinch, okay? Friggin' mob ties all the way, okay? And that's how you guys operate. I love it, man. This is a hell of a group. You guys need to be proud of yourselves. Home zone 3, 1, 2, 3.
By the way, somebody please Photoshop Mina Kimes
Nate
protecting
Jones.
Jackson Smith-Njigba like Nate
She
Jones.
said I'd have did the same thing.
She would have done it.
100%.
Dan,
Not for everyone, but for
said-
JSN.
For you off camera, she said, "Get off my baby."
Did you watch him last night?
Oh, he's gorgeous. Dan, you call the game. What stood out to you about Seattle's offense?
Right now, watching JSN is like watching a young Devontae Adams. You know, when Devontae was cooking at his best, it was off the line of scrimmage,
Please.
destroyed people. At the top of the routes, destroyed people. And just had that nuance to his game that he knew how to attack leverages. And it looked like he was wide open every rep. I mean, these are elite corners that he was working against. 24 Stingley's an all-pro. And he got the better of him for the majority of the night. And just watching, you know, the 3-level ability of him to consistently win versus leverage and then do something with the ball in his hands and how effortless it looks.
Yeah.
This is a complete football team. The play that stood out to me was the Sam Darnold fumble touchdown. JSN got mad right after it. It was like, and our producer's going, "Why is he getting mad?" I said, "He wants him to throw the ball every play." And he's like, "It wasn't covered." And I said, "Those guys don't ever think they are." They came back the very first play and threw that ball down the left sideline to him. It's that right now where it's like, "Hey, I don't think you're covered ever. I just got to make a good enough throw."
Yeah.
Mina, what about the other side of the ball? Now we get to talk about Seattle's defense.
I mean, story of the game for me. I thought it was a masterclass in pressure and coverage working together. They had 10 pass breakups, which is the most of any defense by any game in any game this season. Happened for a number of reasons. One was the pressure. I mean, Mike Macdonald's so diabolical. It was mostly a four-man rush, but the things he does with Sims, stunts, they were getting after it, and C.J. Stroud having to check it down. You saw guys rallying to the football. That's how you get some of these pass breakups. I thought they did a fantastic job of taking away Stroud's throwing lanes over the middle of the field on those in-breakers. The first pass breakup was a simulated pressure. Boye Mafi was at the line of scrimmage, dropped, took away the slant. I mean, Warrior had a great one too. And then finally, separate from the scheme, I just thought the corners were amazing in this game. Josh Jobe and Tariq Woolen, super sticky. Some of those pass breakups were just go balls, man coverage. So
Woolen's a beast.
the scariest part, by the way, is they didn't have Devin Witherspoon and Julian Love. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Let me hit
saw
you
that.
something. Mike Macdonald was talking about Nicky Manwari, and he said so many offenses in the NFL right now, all they do is kick the ball to the perimeter and get cheap yards because they're not big enough out there. He's like, that's the thing that he takes away for us defensively. He's so big and physical. Offenses can't just throw the ball to the sideline and get 3 or 4 cheap yards.
He's just Kyle Hamilton.
Exactly.
yeah.
But bigger.
The corners you mentioned, y'all, the most beautiful defense is being played by Seattle right now because it's tied to rush. And these corners can be super aggressive because the timing that you have to get the ball out of your hand is insane. And it's coming from the interior with Leonard Williams and Jaron Weed. Mafe is having a phenomenal job. And then Mike Macdonald, is only pressuring when he wants to.
Yeah.
You look at this game against the Texans,
need.
there was never a need for him to bring extra rushers or never a need to play a different type of coverage. And it speaks to not only the ability of these guys up front in the rush, but it also speaks to the physicality in which they play with. And I think that sometimes, because we in such a pass-heavy game and we love the track meets on the outside, the physicality in which Seattle plays with when they get to the ball and when they rush the passer, it's not just trying to swim around people. It's bull rushing intentionally.
It's also the deepest defensive line in the NFL.
That too.
There's
that
like
too
6 or 7 guys.
Does not change when guys come. I love watching them play, but we also loved Baltimore when he was calling that defense, watching those guys play.
One other thing I want to point out before we go about last night is what an opportunity for these second chance quarterbacks, and what a cool thing to see.
Oh, man.
You've got a guy in Sam Darnold that was left for dead, the same with Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff, and these guys have come to other places and absolutely dominated.